ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. So the concept which we are studying now is why we do not have conviction for so many spiritual ideas which we are hearing or we have heard since many years. Many times even the devotees, even the monks are heard to be saying that we feel as if there is no progress. We feel as if there is no progress. There are few things that how to measure our progress. And secondly, if the progress is slow or if we are not progressing at all, what could be the reason behind? For example, you have a water tank and you want to fill it up. So the water level will rise. The more water you pour into it, the water level will go up inside the tank. But if the tank has some water taps and if one or two of them are open, so you will find that in spite of your putting effort, the water tank seems to be always going to be empty. This is an example we can take. Not that people do not put efforts for spiritual progress. But there are some factors which doesn't allow us to progress. Sri Ramakrishna gives an example which we heard other day, we talked about also. That if you are rowing the boat and if your boat is already anchored, then night long you can keep on, try to progress, try to move, try to travel, but boat will not move because you are anchored. To lift the anchor, every big or small vessel when they travel, they all are anchored. Before they start traveling, they take off or rather take out the anchor, which is with a fixed object on the land. Here that shloka which we are discussing says the same. That our intellect, our mind is as if stolen. There is a beautiful song Sri Ramakrishna used to sing when the word stolen comes. That a devotee is telling to Divine Mother that, Mother, I have this complaint to you, that in spite of my being conscious, in spite of my being aware, in spite of my being awake, a theft regularly happens in my house. That in spite of my putting efforts, from nowhere, these thieves are entering and taking away the treasure which I accumulate. There is a beautiful shloka we used to remember in our childhood, is Kama Krodho Lobha Moho Dehe Tishtati Taskara. Kama, desires, Krodha, anger, lobha, greed, moha. Moha is delusion. These four thieves are staying in my house, that is in my body or in my mind. Jnana Ratna Paharaya. They want to steal Jnana Ratna, the gem of knowledge. Tasmat Jagrihi Jagrihi. That's why I keep awake. When there is a danger of thieves, what you do? You hire a night guard who will keep track, who will keep watch. If anybody enters, he will see that the theft doesn't happen. Because of that, we can sleep. But if you don't have anybody to guard your place, so the unguarded place, the theft always happens. So we need to keep this guard on us. The guard of that you have to remain aware about. We forget, and that's why theft happens. If we are not aware, the water leaks out of the tank, and eventually you don't see the water level rising in our tank in spite of putting so much effort. A beautiful shloka is there that God has created all of us with all our senses, including our mind, are extrovert. If you find somebody from childhood or from the very beginning, the person is very introvert, the person is less attached to the worldly things. Remember that he or she has done a lot of tapasya in their past life. But we all are born extroverts. Whatever amount of effort you put, as if the effort is not being fruitful, is because of our extrovert nature. What is extrovert nature? Our eyes are open, so we see the external world. The eyes doesn't have capacity to see the inner world. The ears can hear the sound from outside. Ears cannot see the sound from inside. The tongue wants to taste things which is outside. 1 inch away, if bitterness is there in the throat, the tongue cannot taste it. All the senses are created outside, extrovert. That shloka is there in our Kathopanishad also. Bhagavad Gita also it comes. Paranchi khani vedrinat swayambhu. Swayambhu, God, has created the senses, paranchi, extrovert. Khani means indriyani, the senses. Tasmat parang pashyati. That's why the senses are always extrovert. Na antaratman. The senses doesn't have a capacity to realize something which is within. Even Shankaracharya says in one, to say it is within also is wrong. There is nothing within and without of for the self. You are that self. There is nothing inside you that who is a self. But what happens? Even if we all are born extroverts, kaschit dhiraha, but very few of us, pratyagatmanam ekshat, to realize the pratyagatma, to realize this individual self which we are, avritta chakshu, Avrita Chakshu is one who closes the eyes. Actually, one who controls all the senses. Amritatvam Ichcham. And he seeks for the immortality. Sri Ramakrishna, we consider him as incarnation of God and we worship. Is okay, people can take as they want. He was asked this question, you can find in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. If God realization is the goal of life, which Sri Ramakrishna used to say every now and then, if it is so, why God made us so extrovert? He could have made us introvert, so it would be easier for all of us to realize God, because that is the goal of life. Why God created us extrovert? Sri Ramakrishna has two answers. First answer is as a human being. He says, how should I know why God did like that? Then he says, because God wants to churn out best among you. God wants to make you the best version of you. It is something like we all appear in an exam and we get different marks, but we don't excel that much. So it will be a very childish question to ask, if they are conducting exam for all of us to pass, why they make exams so difficult? They should ask the easy questions so all of us can pass. No, they want to churn out those who have understood, and those who are putting effort only will pass. So, Sri Ramakrishna says, he wants to make a great person out of you. Every progress is difficult. If anybody shows any kind of progress, we remember that he or she has put a lot of efforts. If a person has big muscles, he or she has practiced. A person is very intelligent, person is very scholarly, he or she has put effort in studies. That's why in the society, irrespective of what kind of person you are, when you see anybody excelling in the society, whichever field, doesn't matter. We must respect that we couldn't do that. Few things could be which only you have done. I cannot think of doing that. If you are a doctor, I didn't study that much. So I must respect that you have studied so much. I did something which you have not done, so you have a respect. Oh, he left everything and he is spending time as much as possible for the service of God, for the service of people, some idealistic life. So you appreciate that. But nobody is good in every possible way, no. But everybody is good in some way or other. That we must respect. It doesn't matter what religion you belong to, it doesn't matter whether you are a man or a woman or a third gender, we don't know. I remember a person came to me to see me, and before the person came, the concerned person telephoned to me and said, Swamiji, I cannot talk to this person. I have no experience of doing this and I am little afraid. I said, why you should be afraid? No, she is the third gender. She is neither man nor a woman. So I am sending him or her to you. Please talk. So I said, okay, what does it matter? So the person came and sat before me. 15-20 minutes I talked with him. Obviously, he or she is not married, but has social stigma and leads a very, a kind of not good life. But his nephew was in our boys' home. And when the person cried to me and said, I do not want this boy to grow up with me, who doesn't have any respect in the society. I want him to become a good person. And he wept. At that time I thought this. And I said, no, you are born like this. Do I cry because I am a man? Do somebody cry because she is a woman? You don't cry because you are something different. Because the soul doesn't have a sex. The soul is neither man or a woman or the third. But your heart is good. You want all good for the person whom you are responsible to take care of. And that goodness you have to maintain. Society has its own limitations to accept you or not accept you. But nobody can deny your goodness if you have. A worker, construction worker, comes sometimes and finds that there are many people come who are, of course, far better well-to-do than him, because he is a construction worker, he doesn't have much money. So in some kind of intense talk, he said, do you think in my life I can ever become like these people? Who can drive a car or has a good house or something? So I told, could be, that depends on your effort. You make yourself worthy of these things and things will come to you. But if you are asking for social status and your financial status, I can't say anything because that depends on you. But one thing is very sure. If you want to become a good person, nobody in the world can stop you from doing that. And you could be a better person than all these people who come here. Because there is no competition of becoming good. Everybody tries to become good. And if your samskaras are good, you can become much better than even anybody. But external world you have to respect. If somebody is rich, you respect from that point of view. If somebody on a higher post, you respect according to. Somebody elder to you, must respect them. Somebody is more knowledgeable, respect them. No harm in doing that. But to become a spiritual person, good person, nobody can stop you from doing that. And that you can, if you can decide, you can be from this moment. There is no course to undergo. So, our not being able to progress, or if we are progressing slow, is because our boat is anchored. Where it is anchored? Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya apahritu chetasam. The shloka says. Our inner desire. Externally we are all good people because we want spirituality, that's why we are here at 179 Bartley Road, because we want to be spiritual. Our intentions are good, our intentions are very pure. We are all sincere, not that we are not. But still our progress is less or more. Is because of this. How much we are anchored. The scriptures are very clear. Nowhere in the scriptures, not a single religion, forget about Hinduism, no religion ever, in any scripture it is written, if you go to temple every day, you will realize God. If you read Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita every day, you will realize God. No. Because reading the book and visiting a temple is an activity which even if you are atheist, you can do that. Realization doesn't depend on your reading books or your visiting temples. Even Bhagavad Gita, 700 shloka, there is no word called temple. There is no word of temple. There is no word called statue. Worship the statues. No, it is not there. Go to the temple. The very word temple is not there. The idea is to be spiritual. The idea is to have that orientation of our mind. Example is worldly, but that is the example given. Take simple example, not that worldly example. We don't need to talk worldly example. For example, I have tooth pain. So morning when I wake up, till I sleep in the night, if I can sleep, whatever I do, part of my mind is always there in the tooth pain. I can't be free from that if the pain is there. To be free from there, you take painkiller so that you don't realize the pain and you put your mind into other subjects which you want to think about. Sri Ramakrishna gives this example and says, even if the pain sustains throughout the day, but you still continue doing your daily chores, why can't you keep a portion of your mind in God and keep on doing your normal duties? We say, how to do it? Well, you always do it. When you have tooth pain, you do it. If you tell me, meditate for 3 hours, difficult. Maybe if you give me the book to read, I can read for 3 hours. Maybe other things which I like, writing, etc., I can do it. Meditation also, if there is a mood, you can do it. But people who have complained that I can't concentrate at all, we say like this, you do not remember that you also can concentrate very well. No, I cannot concentrate. My mind always goes here and there. Your mind goes here and there when you meditate. Your mind doesn't go here and there when you watch movie. You have a capacity to concentrate. In movie or soccer match or something, you have interest. That's why you are able to concentrate. In meditation, you don't have any interest. Or you do not know, you don't love the object of your meditation. These are examples to give. One has to understand themselves. If you love somebody, always all your waking hours are in remembrance of him or her, because you love them. Whatever you do, you think about them. For example, to that loved one, you are going to buy a gift. When you go to the shop, when you look at the things, while buying, after buying, you are continuously thinking about that person. Whether he or she likes this or not, whether he or she likes this color or not, whether he or she likes this item or not. That thinking, continuous thinking about a person, but he's not thinking about as I am thinking about this object. No. There is a beautiful word, I don't know how to translate into English. But there is a poetry. People write poems. But there is one poem or a song which is in Hindi or Urdu language. But that depicts this concept, what I am telling, very much. that if you can remember someone without any effort, because of your attachment, because of your love, do you think you take his or her name? For example, a girl loves a boy called Ramesh, for example. Do you think the girl will get up in the morning and say, Ramesh, 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 Ramesh? She doesn't do japa. Why? I don't need to do japa. Why? Because Ramesh is always in my mind. This is the significance of that song. The Hindi or Urdu word is called khayal. If you are in my khayal always, it doesn't matter whether I repeat your name by my lips or not. That is the poetry. If you are spontaneously thinking of that person in the worldly life, in the day-to-day life, you see it. People love each other so much, but nobody sits down and do japa in their name. Neither the husband keeps on repeating the name of his wife, or the wife repeats the name of the husband. No, they don't do it. Wherever this affection, love, or hatred, our scripture says this. I don't remember the Purana story, but the two brothers who hated Lord Vishnu in the three incarnations, one of them was Ravana and Kumbhakarna, that he will continuously think of God out of hatred, and that remembrance will make him free, set him free. So, our mind is anchored somewhere, and then you keep on doing good things. Nothing wrong about it. Wrong is to keep that anchor. Strong desire for enjoyment. Children do. We also have done when we were children. Those who are childlike or childish, they do at the advanced age also. Going to temple was not at all the priority. Priority was the prasad. Go to mission, oh no, Swamiji gives a chocolate. Children always remember that. I remember some devotees' children used to come. This young girl was there, so small. Tells me, give me chocolate. I say, I don't have chocolate. Then give me sweet. I say, I don't have sweet. Then give me payasam. Prasad payasam we used to keep. I said, no, today no payasam also. Give me something. Because that is the aim. I go to mission, I get something from Swamiji's. We do externally many good things. That's what in our previous lecture we talked. What we do is important, but the purpose of what we do has to be that high. Again, the purpose of that purpose should be the highest. If our purpose is not higher, external action, that's what happens. We don't criticize or belittle anybody. People keep on doing ritualistic worship lifelong. But apparently, if you see, you do not see that much spiritual progress, because they seem to be quite attached to all that is to be in the world. Even lead much lower kind of life than normal people in the world, though they claim to be closer to God. As the English proverb goes, that closer to the church but away from God. This happens. For practical purpose, we respect. A person I know last more than 3 decades, rain or shine, whatever is the condition, he has visited the temple. It's next to his house. Not 1 or 2 days, for 30, 35 years. And we really appreciate that determination, the tenacity, etc. Even that, if your purpose of going to temple is not higher, you may not be able to progress spiritually. You have a very good habit. Instead of going to a negative place, you are going to a positive place. Very good. What is the purpose of going there is more important. Going is good, but just by going, if you would have achieved your purpose, it doesn't happen so. Priests who do the worship in the temple, from childhood they do the same. But if you mix with them closely, their personal life may not be that high spiritual. Because the purpose is different. My job is to do this. Somebody sometimes ask questions to us. You are a priest, I said, from which point of view you are talking, I do not know. If you understand the difference between monk and the priest, then I am a monk. If priest is a common people who be in the religious places, okay, you call me a priest also, I don't mind. I remember an incident which happened about 20 years before. In one of the temples, the temple is closed at 9 o'clock, 9:30. And the priest, poor boy, had a desire to eat something non-veg. So he went to a restaurant and was nicely enjoying food. Somebody saw him. You're a priest of the temple. We come and touch your feet and you are coming and eating chicken, mutton, all this. Complaint was, next day their temple, I may have 1,000 faults, but if I come to know about your fault, I tell to everybody. This is a very cheap but attitude of common human beings. And came to the temple and told to everybody, yesterday night I saw eating this, eating that. For some reason, indirectly it came to me. I said, what wrong he did? You did wrong that you expected so high from him. He is a normal person. He never told that he is a God man. He didn't say. It is your mistake to think that just because he is a priest, he must be like this, like this, like this. No, not necessarily. It is his job. You work in bank, you work in a supermarket, you work in a cashier, he works in the temple. He is interested, end of the day, whatever some money comes in the archana, and also monthly salary which he gets, he has just interest in that much. One gentleman told me this. I'm not again criticizing anybody, but this happens even if you are inside the temple worshipping God. You may not be spiritual. To be spiritual is totally different. A man, this is a real story, in India, and his mood was good. So he went to the temple. There is a big hundial, you see, in front of deities. Big hundi is there. So he put a big note, and the priest saw it, that he has put 500 rupees or 1000 rupees or something at that time. And when the arati or that deepam is shown to devotees, some temples there is a practice that people put some money there and that goes to the priest directly, it doesn't go to the temple. So he put 10 rupees and took the arati. This is the story if that person is telling me the truth. And he said the priest told him, for me only 10 rupees, and for this stone you are giving 1000 rupees. and he is a priest. You may be working in the temple, you may sit beside the deity also. Can't make you spiritual. To be spiritual is altogether a different ball game, they say. It's altogether a different subject matter. This is a means of livelihood. But if you are at home, for your devotion's sake, if you are doing puja, nobody is there to clap for you, nobody is there to appreciate you, nobody is there to find fault with you. You do out of your love. That could be something different. So we cannot progress is because of our this attitude. The purpose of what we do and the purpose of the purpose, just 2 steps. I came to temple today. What was my purpose? Coming to temple is not a great thing. No, I came to attend the prayer. That is the first purpose. Again ask a question. Why do I want to attend the prayer? What is the purpose of my attending prayer? 2 steps, you become a thinker. In 2 steps. Whatever you are doing, the purpose of that and the purpose of the purpose of that. Finish. 2 steps. And you become a thinker. You become sincere. You become serious. I came to temple to hear the lecture or to attend prayer. Purpose of that. Why do I attend the prayer? Why do I hear the lecture? And answer yourself, don't answer to anyone else. If that purpose is good, then question of spiritual progress comes. Otherwise, you may have a different purpose. Coming to a place has nothing to do with holy or unholy. Any action done, apparently good action, which could be bad, apparently bad action, could be good. It is the purpose behind the action which makes it good or bad. Long before we took this example. If a person kills another person, it's a hideous crime, unpardonable crime. Most of the case, if it is found that purposefully, willfully has done this killing, the person may be hanged also. Just by killing one person, he got this big punishment. Because his purpose was to kill, reason was anger or whatever. Come on, sir. Same action of killing. A soldier was in the forefront, in frontier, and he killed 15 soldiers of the enemy, and he was given a big medal. For killing one person you are hanged, killing 15 persons you are given medal. It is not the action of killing which is important here. It is the purpose behind the action. Any work we do, anything what we are doing, what is the purpose makes it good or bad. It is not the action which is good or bad. So always when we do spiritual practice or do something where we think that it is going to benefit me spiritually, ask same question twice. What is the purpose of my doing? What is the purpose of my doing? 2 questions, same question twice of any work we do, any action we perform. That makes our life spiritual. And you will find when you are a thinking mind, when you ask these 2 questions, many things what you do, you start understanding the futility, you start understanding the meaninglessness of all these things. You may be standing in a crowd, but if you do not know anybody, then you will be lonely in the crowd. You may be part of the crowd, but you are lonely. You have no interest in what sound is going on. You don't have interest in what activities are going on. You are totally aloof. Even in the crowd, you are alone. These examples I am giving to understand this. That your attitude is correct. If attitude is correct, then only that action becomes karma yoga. Every karma cannot become karma yoga, but every karma can become karma yoga with the right attitude. Think of a person coming and sweeping the floor, cleaning the toilet. It's a very small job compared to big things. But if the attitude was correct, that small act can make them spiritually big, spiritually great, because their attitude is correct. And apparently big action, people say, wow, my goodness, such a great man. But the purpose is low, it doesn't become helpful to him or her. Because our mind is anchored for any kind of sense enjoyment. We cannot live without certain degree of sense enjoyment, because the senses, indriyas, senses connects us with the world. If ears are there, the ears can do only hearing. So you hear. So all the sounds, it is your ears which connects you with those sounds. You can't be free from that. You have to hear something or other. Eyes will see. You may have, because of your spiritual attitude, you may have kind of sensor, what I want to see, what I do not want to see, what I want to hear, what I do not want to hear. With the correct attitude, you can progress. You cannot stop your senses mingling with this world. Can you stop your eyes seeing? We have to see. Can you stop your ears hearing? Can you stop your nose from inhaling the good or bad smells? But remember one thing, all the senses which we are talking, all have to be connected with the mind. Then only the question of good and bad comes. Then only question of accepting, rejecting or renouncing comes. If the mind is connected with that. For attachment's sake, mind is connected. Otherwise you cannot have attachment. Attachment in any way is attachment of mind only. When I say, oh, I like to hear music, I means my mind. Body has nothing to hear. It's the mind who hears the music. So you select what I want to hear, what I do not. Seeing what I want to see, what I do not want to see. When you want to see something, what is the purpose of my seeing? Is it a higher purpose? Is it going to elevate me? If yes, go forward. If no, depends on your vairagyam, whether you are able to renounce or not. Mostly people cannot give up, because the senses are getting happiness. And at that moment to give up is a difficult job. So what people do? You start keeping distance from that object which makes you down, which makes you attached, which makes you fall from your idea. So you try to keep a distance from that. That distance is called renunciation. Swami Adbhutananda used to come to Dakshineshwar by a particular route. Later on he found somebody who's opened a wine shop in that route. He changed the route and started coming to Thakur. He was not going to buy or drink. No, I do not want to even see and create an opportunity for my mind to get attached to this object. So he started taking a longer route to come to Thakur. Idea is this, that a conscious mind, a mind which is a thinking mind, who always thinks about the purpose of his or her doing. Good things even if you do, it is good to ask this question, what is the purpose of my doing this? Why do I do this? Is there any meaning in doing this? Many times people say that I'm doing japa also, I feel I'm doing it mechanically. When you feel that you are doing japa mechanically, ask these questions, why do I do japa? You clear your mind, the purpose of doing japa. Mind forgets. So the purpose is important. And the purpose of purpose, 2 steps. If that comes, then what we do will be meaningful. And also, the purpose will be always kept clean. Many times doing the same activity, slowly you will find your purpose of doing that has changed, even if you do the same thing every day. This is the world of Maya, you can't help. You start for a very noble purpose. Slowly it becomes so mechanical that your purpose of doing completely changes. That's why it is required to ask yourself, why do I do this? So that I am aware when I do it. I remember one incident like this keeps us thinking. There were some issues. I was looking after the boys' home at that time. So sometimes we look after the dysfunctional families, so some families will come and create some issues and then you become agitated. So like that something would have happened. Still I went to temple, completed evening prayers and came and was sitting in front of my office. Yeah. And really I was dejected. Do not want to talk to anyone. So generally evening, weekdays, not many people will be there. So somebody came down of the temple. I was sitting looking towards my office. So came down and went like this. I didn't bother because I was not interested in talking to anybody. Then I saw that person is coming back. I was sitting the bench in front of my office, so there are steps. So that person climbed the steps and was coming to see me. Then I saw she is a lady. I looked at her. I have never seen her. She did pronounce. And she told me something very interesting. How Sri Ramakrishna is there to keep you awake. Just like what you call pinch you sometimes and keep you awake. And told me in Bengali, I am not very old devotee. 3 sentences. I am not very old devotee. I just took initiation 2 years before. Then her tone was like this. Till now I don't remember her face, but her words I remember. And then she says, but I am so happy when I repeat the Thakur's name. I am so happy when I do my japa. She told these 3 sentences. I am not an old devotee. I took initiation 2 years before, but I feel so happy when I do japa. And she left. This made me thinking. She says she is not an old devotee. I am already 30 years in the mission or 25 years in the mission. Just 2 years before she says I have taken initiation. I have taken initiation 20 years before or 25 years before. And she says, I feel so happy when I repeat the mantra. What about the third question? What about the third statement? Why do I not feel that happiness in doing japa? Why a simple incident makes me so agitated and unhappy? Even if I say I am monk and I am initiated long before and I am so senior and this and that. It doesn't matter whether you are 20 years initiated or 25 years initiated. So people come. Somebody will come in your life, unknown person, no need to be known also, and can teach you a lesson. That anytime anything happens, think once more. Why do you think you are dejected? Whatever happens to you, repeat the name of God, repeat your mantra, and it cleans the slate again. You don't need to put those incidents in your baggage and feel heavy. So, idea is this, that if you want to progress, you have to lift the anchor. Anchor in enjoyment, anchor in affluence, anchor in any kind of happiness which brings us down. But we are anchored. As a human being, a devotee has to be first a good human being, then only he can become spiritual. As Swami Shivanandaji, Mahapurush Maharaj used to say to the monks, you want to be a monk? Be a gentleman first. Then become a monk. Monk is like a progressing. First you come to this level, normal level of others, then you progress. You cannot remain so low and say that you are a monk. No. So a devotee has to come to this level first. Doing mistakes, okay. We are not that great. We are simple human beings. But I want to progress. If I want to progress, I must renounce little so that I can go higher. What do you renounce? External life remains the same. You can't renounce external life because that's not the way to do. What you renounce is internal. Slowly cutting the anchor which we have in many things, many objects of senses, where we have anchored ourselves. Slowly cutting down one by one, and that will keep us boat sailing through. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.